Bingo update! All right, guys. So let's just get started right into it. Let me get everything set up. So for those that don't know, one of the biggest things that I've been researching for the last week is in the world of horse racing, there's something called a Triple Crown. In the world of professional wrestling, there's something called a Grand Slam Champion. It's basically when you win like 3 or 4 tiers worth of titles or championships or something like that. And because MLS has a lot of championships available or some sort of like cup tournament or whatnot, I thought, well, what would you call all of those? What would you call winning at least one of each? Not in a consecutive year, but just overall. And I thought, well, there's 5 groups, 5 in a row, bingo. Why not call it a bingo? So we're calling it an MLS bingo. And Seattle is an interesting team because they are one of the few that actually has the opportunity to to basically get a bingo this year. And so like there's a list of criteria. So the first one is that you got to win the Supporter Shield and the MLS Cup, because I think they're both equally important in stature. They're both champions of the league. And then you also got to win the Continental. You got to win a Continental Cup, so you got to win the CONCACAF Champions Cup and stuff. And then you got to win also the Interleague Championship of sorts, so like a Championes Cup or the Leagues Cup, because those are basically a interleague competition between MLS and Liga MX. And then finally, you got to also win the domestic championship, whether it be the Canadian Championship or the U.S. Open Cup. Well, the fifth one is probably the most prestigious trophy that MLS has, and it is the Anthony Precourt Memorial Wooden Spoon. Now, this trophy is so unique, at least as far as the world of sports goes, because this is like one of the very few actual physical wooden spoons that is awarded to the team, to a team specifically. Now, what is a wooden spoon? It is the trophy that is awarded to the worst team. It's awarded to the worst team in Major League Soccer. And for a good example from last year, the winner of the spoon last year was not Philadelphia Union, DC United. And right now it looks like Philadelphia is kind of leading towards that way of, or Atlanta. I think Atlanta is kind of actually now more or less in the race for the spoon. But Portland has been in an interesting situation because ever since the World Cup basically came around, they've lost every single game. Just 2 games before the World Cup started, they were on a 2-game losing skid. And ever since then, they've lost 4 straight. So they've been on a 6-game losing streak. And I wouldn't have really paid much attention if they had just kept one winning. I'd be like, well, this is probably out of the picture. But because they have been on such a downfall of utter mediocrity, I just couldn't help but think, oh, there's actually something happening here. There's something really cool that could happen, you know? And so that's why I created this bingo card, just to keep track of Seattle and their race toward greatness. Because if they accomplish this, they are legitimately the first team in MLS to do this. Columbus doesn't have this record. They are actually 1 trophy away too, but they got to win the CONCACAF. They haven't won CONCACAF. They actually were runners-up one year. They could have actually been the first team to get a bingo. LA Galaxy can't. They have to win the League's Cup, and they ain't even playing in it this year. And I believe the other one would probably be, I think the other one is DC United, and they won the spoon last year, so they're nowhere close to playing in like League's Cup or any sort of interleague competition. And I believe that there's one more. I can't really confirm who it is, but I still got to figure it out. I think they're like maybe I think they too are like maybe they are. I think they are maybe a continental championship away, but I'm not sure. They're like maybe a trophy or 2 away. But yeah, it's it's an accomplishment really only available to only a few teams can actually make happen, that can really make happen in the next couple of years. And Seattle is in such a unique spot to where they could actually accomplish this. They can make this happen. And I'm not, and there are some people probably thinking, "Oh, you're a Timbers fan. You're a Vancouver fan." No, 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 no. I'm a Nashville fan. I root for NSC. I could really care less about Cascadia and everything going on there. I could really care less about about all this. But I just saw a little worthless little trinket, an opportunity that basically said, "Hey, you know what? Let's make this fun. Let's make this fun. Make it a meme, I guess you could say." And you know, it also helped that the game that they just went through was the rematch against Portland Timbers at Providence Park in Portland, Oregon. And oh my God, what a showing by the Timbers Army. Now, for those that don't know, Timbers Army are notorious for some of the best banner work, some of the best TIFO work in MLS. Honestly, probably on par with that of other groups all across the world. And they know what they're doing. And this one was in reference to the Hellraiser franchise, and this just absolutely superb work, superb detail, superb creativity. I got a video that the Timbers community made in response to the game, because to put it bluntly, Portland won 2-1. It was a pretty one-sided affair. Seattle did get the opening goal, but then the Timbers basically said, "Oh, you want to play serious now," and beat them. So it also was really funny that the coach basically had a post-game breakdown, and he I'm just gonna show you this. This is just really funny. I'm gonna put it up here.
We're taking this loss pretty poorly because the stupid TIFO that the Portland Timbers have had.
What gets me is that he's blaming a TIFO for their poor performance. Like, you're blaming a piece of fabric. Like, I think this guy's lost. He probably knows that his job is on the line, and he's probably not going to be there much longer. And so he's just, I don't give a crap attitude. I'm just going to rant like crazy and just go nuts. It's just hilarious to me, like, just to hear that. Like, good Lord.
I don't know what, I have no idea what they're doing. The whole gut the fish thing. They can laugh, they can have their moment. You know, I can't sit here and say they didn't beat us 5-1 up in Seattle, and they didn't win this game 2-1, but what comes around goes around. So they can enjoy this moment, but panic stations, no, not even close. If you ask me if I was pissed off, I'd tell you yes.
Sorry, I have to take out my mic because apparently there's an audio recording thing with monitoring, and I tried to keep the monitoring off. I had a headphone in and everything, and it just wasn't working. So just bear with me on that. But basically, what he was basically saying was, I'm pissed off. I hate Portland. Basically, that's what he was saying. It's the Bob Knight situation. It's the Bob Knight hot mic where he says, "I freaking hate Purdue." It's that sort of feeling, you know. It's the same thing with any other big rivalry in the world of sports. I'm pretty sure when Rangers go and get their butts whipped by Celtic every year, they probably have to say to themselves, "I freaking hate Celtic." To be fair, everybody hates Celtic. But there's a lot less people that hate Portland. Well, it depends on who you ask, and depends on what part of the country you're in. But on a serious note, just that image, oh my God, that's hilarious. But yeah, one of the things that he mentioned was that there is this tradition where I think it's after a win. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on this, but from what I could tell, it seems like after a win against Seattle, they take a fish, and Timber Joey I don't know if he's really a mascot. He's just a representative with the Timbers Army and stuff. He grabs an axe, cuts the head off, and guts the fish. And so you'll see like a lot of these references to gutting fish while like for example this right here, you can see kind of like a Simpsons reference right here. And I did see one, there was another one where they did have like a Simpsons thing where it showed it basically was that scene from where from the show where Bart is gutting fish and he goes, knife goes in, guts come out, knife goes in, guts come out. And it's just one of those little references that, you know, it's just so unique to the specific rivalry between the two. Now, where does this result put Seattle? Well, right now it leaves them at 17th on the table. So 17th out of 30. So they're still kind of within the mid-table range right now. Just really because they had such a strong start to the season. But they're only 12 points away from Atlanta. And Atlanta has been, I'm planning on making another video to talk about just how much of a collapse and utter disaster Atlanta United has been this year. They are probably the most expensive. They're the most expensive flop in Major League Soccer history. You spent $22 million to get Emmanuel Latte-Loth in 2025, and it turned out to be nothing. And a lot of that, and I don't think that's actually Latte-Loth's fault much. I think it's just, from what I understand, it seems to be more of a tactics thing with Atlanta. They just don't utilize him like they did it, like the people at Middlesbrough did. And I wouldn't be surprised if Union, as he's going to be on loan right now, he's going to be on loan in Union Berlin. He's probably going to get a lot more touches, a lot better support. Honestly, he'll start to show why he's actually really good. But it's just Atlanta doesn't know what the hell they're doing. Even, I believe, Tata Martino, the guy who was part of that amazing 2018 team, helped them win their first MLS Cup, helped them basically build in this immediate success for Atlanta, especially after such an utter collapse in the great and probably the worst comeback ever to occur in a Super Bowl. You know, it's just it was a beautiful moment of momentum, and honestly, the more and more I look at that, I kind of think Arthur Blank sold his soul for an immediate trophy, and now he's just suffering the consequences of it, thinking that he can beat the devil, but the devil says, "LOL." But yeah, so right now Seattle currently holds a 17 point spot, and they are 12 points away from getting back into competition with the Spoon. Now, whether or not they actually are able to do that, I don't know. Atlanta sucks, like really bad. They probably are going to win the Spoon this year, but it is funny to just kind of keep an eye on this to see how much further down Seattle can go in order to keep up with the race here. Now, like I said earlier, one of the reasons why I'm keeping a track of this is not really because I want to watch Seattle suffer. It's just because this is such a unique moment where you have a team that is going on a record binge, a record bin, whatever you want to call it, and they have the opportunity to actually make something happen. And honestly, this is one of those moments where I feel like there's like really two outcomes you could go for with this. You can either basically reset, go for a go for a wild card spot that you probably won't even win afterwards, and everybody will forget about your season. Go for the mid-table mediocrity with no playoff spot, and everybody will forget your season. Go for the Spoon, fight valiantly for the Spoon, and you will be remembered as the first ever team in Major League Soccer to get a bingo. That's my motivation. I have no horse in this race, but I am keeping track of it because it's just so fascinating to be able to witness something possible. Like, this is possible. And so my hope is that Seattle will at least take note of this and say, you know what? Screw it. We're going to tank for a bingo. That's fine. Tank, like how everybody loves to see NFL teams tank for the first overall pick in the draft, or NBA teams tank, It's just, I think it should be an opportunity. Win your first ever wooden spoon, Seattle. You can do it this year. You have a chance to really make it happen. I say go for it. Come on, Seattle. Go for the spoon. Get a bingo. Oh, real quickly. Also, I will be keeping track of this, so there will be more updates to come. Take care.